death trap way happen.
Well, I went to the parking lot at Sunday just to see what they did, because they haven't sold it. Have you been to these malls? It's quite dark. It's kind of dark. And they have a beautiful light. It goes up about 20 feet. One's up against yeah, there's kind of yeah, and it just has to be. So when you design the parking lot, just put up light and minerals. So
I think they're 20 trip.
3 years in the year.
Last month. I think it was last month. I have tripped so many times trying to get to my yeah, well, I'll get it. I don't have to sue.
Worst things that happen.
Yeah, well,
You out of power? You weren't out of power?
No, not today.
yeah.
I heard it's a bunch of call guys.
Yeah.
Were you guys out of power?
Yeah.
Oh, we must have lost power like for a second or something, but because the computer was off at one point, so it did go off, but no.
Some of the malls were out of power at times.
So there was almost 28,000 people in the South Island.
I mean, the wind was blowing here too. It's not like it wasn't blowing downtown, but
Was it? We got wind, but it's when I came down Happy Valley Road. It was
the trees are moving.
quite
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to get through to get on the phone. Finally changed it. Clock tomorrow. I'm double
No luck.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying on my phone, so. Our dog was there. Must be PTSD or something.
Welcome, everybody, to the Monday, November 4th, 2024 council meeting. Before we begin, I just want to recognize that the District of Metchosin works to be increasingly mindful of its commitment to more inclusive governance and good relations with our neighbors. I'd like to acknowledge our neighboring First Nation governments with whom we are committed to build stronger working relationships. The Shiano First Nations territory and the Sauk First Nations. With that, we have, yes.
If I might just mention, one important thing happened today, and that's that Murray Sinclair died. Murray Sinclair was 73 years old, and I made a note here. He was a lawyer, a judge, a senator, and then he chaired the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and was on the commission. And if you would, if that's okay, maybe I'll just read a quote from him. He was such an important Canadian and leader in our country. So here's the quote. "The road we travel is equal in importance to the destination we seek. There are no shortcuts. When it comes to truth and reconciliation, we are forced to go the distance."
Okay, thank you. Yes, rest in peace, Murray Sinclair. Absolutely. We have an agenda before us. We have a pink late item from Bev Bacon. We'll add to correspondence. With that, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Schuken. All in favor? Thank you. That's unanimous. Public participation. We have 4 minutes per person. If you wish to speak at the microphone, please state your name and your road, and everybody's welcome to speak.
Thank you. Dear Mayor Little and council members, my name is Jordan Tan, and I live at 373 Burnside Road East, Victoria, BC, near Mayfair Mall. I am an 8-year resident of Victoria and follow an almost vegan diet. I am here to advocate for you to choose a strategy of increased population growth of a particular kind. The population growth I'm referring to is dense vegan settlement. Agricultural land should be considered within the community's constraints such as sewer and water access. Dense vegan settlement means apartment buildings and units provided only to practicing vegans. Enforcing this could range from voluntary compliance up to a rules-based approach, such as co-op bylaws. Metchosin should show it chooses to be a vegan stronghold. I'm following up on a letter I wrote to this body 6 months ago, dated 6 May 2024. I also read about the Victoria Humane Society's plans to purchase a 15-hectare parcel locally and heard the plans mentioned at your previous meeting of 7 October. Almost all of my friends, family, and people I know consume meat, and that does not change my love for them. I thank God I have not been controlled by a hunger for meat since I gave up meat. But I can envisage failing to remain vegan and want to support those who can sustain veganism in the hopes of building a better future. A vegan diet uses a quarter of the agricultural land of a diet consuming 100 grams of meat daily. Regarding what animals actually go through, there should be a way to relieve some of the pressures that build in our imaginations as truth meets real freedom. The way to relieve those pressures is to be open to selective housing that leads to vegans being able to vote in a way that is totally politically controlling in this pivotal community on the tip of Vancouver Island. This is an attempt to develop leadership in a whole of community response to the problem of evil that includes the systematic suffering of animals, including in factory farming. This strategy aims to be better than just saying everyone should find the will to stop inflicting the suffering. I ask for you to make the best use of limited land and choose a strategy of dense vegan housing in Metchosin. I hope the pieces fall into place for this to happen. Let's get better using what we're already doing. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Could you state your name again?
Jordan Tan.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else wish to speak this evening? Okay, seeing no one else, let's move on to the agenda. The adoption of the minutes, council meeting minutes on page 5 for adoption.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Council Donaldson, seconded by Council Bray. Questions, comments? No? Go ahead.
I just had a question. We heard from Dan Casey from the Active Transportation Network Planning. And I mean, it's kind of funny. You get a presentation and you can sort of put that together, but then you go away and think about it a little bit. And so I was thinking on what he explained to us, and I was concerned. I mean, I think the work that's done is quite good. No complaint there. But I was a little bit concerned that the survey might drive, our plan now. When there's questions, I've got questions about the validity of the survey in terms of the survey responses. Where people live depends on how they answer, things like that. And I wondered what other opportunities there might be to talk to the urban systems. Is it by attending Healthy Communities meetings, or is it directly to talk to Mr. Casey again, or how we do that?
Councillor Donaldson.
I believe I believe when he did his presentation, there was to be another public engagement. Is that correct? That's right, Councillor? Mm-hmm. That's one factor. Yeah. Is there going to be an open house? Do you know?
Well, I know that, sorry, I'm not sure exactly what that entails, but I'm assuming it'll be an open house style thing. Do you know, Mr. Payette?
Yeah, Mr. Payette.
could be a little bit clear to say that I think the survey is a good guidepost, but we should also be thinking about planning principles, thinking about the concern we've got of the large number of people be moving in next door, both in Langford but also Colwood, our regional role in terms of active transportation for some of those people coming out to our community. So I just didn't want to lose those kind of fundamentals by looking at a survey that had, I think, straightforward validity problems, not that it wasn't useful.
Okay, through the chair, great questions. I received correspondence from Urban Systems shortly after it presented to the public council, and we will have 2 weeks time for them to gather and present all of their information, and then they're going to be coming to a working group session with my staff to include planning, development, roads and grounds, fire, all of the staff. We'll have that fulsome type of review. And then, yes, for sure, there'll be another opportunity for public engagement in the process. So lots more time for more input. And if the community has additional input, they can always submit it to our website, Inquiry website. So please, anybody who has any more information or any interest or any comments, please submit.
That would be at info@machosen.ca.
Info, yeah, info.
And that includes us on council?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just in terms of the survey, the one thing that I thought was interesting to see in terms of comments were all the little post-it notes on the map, and it would be interesting to see that again. And one of the things I think that it would be really applicable to is the Parks and Trail Master Plan, because I think that there were some comments related that could be helpful for that. I think there was one comment about having more access to the Galloping Goose, for example. So it'd be interesting to see where that was. So that, yeah, Councillor Radcliffe, there's a way of and Mr. Hyams getting that information, but as we go, no big question.
Okay. So to answer your question, it sounds like it's not just going to be survey-driven results of the survey. It's going to be input also from staff, and anybody can comment.
Great, thanks so much.
Great. Okay, I'll call the vote on that. This is the council meeting from October 28th. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the receipt of minutes on page 13. This is the Capital West Advisory Committee meeting minutes, attended by our Deputy Corporate Officer, Tina Hansen. Yep, go ahead.
I'll move receipt with thanks to our Deputy Corporate Officer.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great.
I think there's just been a lot of work put in by Ms. Hansen on this committee, and so terrific help in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the mayor's report. So, welcome to the inaugural meeting of 2024. This is our second year of a 4-year mandate. The first 2 years have been incredibly busy, not only for council, but for our staff and the many community volunteers. I want to sincerely thank you for your work and your commitment to this community. Together, we're all working towards the goal of protecting and strengthening rural Metchosin. I'd like to outline what we've done as a council in 2024 and review some of the opportunities and challenges in the road ahead. At the start of 2024, we took a tremendous step further in strengthening our district's internal team. Council hired our new Chief Administrative Officer in January of this year. Mr. Bob Payette has been a welcome addition to our community. Mr. Payette has since built his executive leadership team with the hiring of Mr. Jeffrey Creek as the Chief Financial Officer, as well as a new contract planner, Ms. Tara Johnson, and a new engineering firm. These people now round out our established team that includes Fire Chief Stephanie Dunlop, Public Works Lead Mr. Chris Watkins, and our Deputy Corporate Officer, Ms. Tina Hansen. With the district's bare bones staffing complement, It is vital that we have skilled staff who are dedicated not only to getting things done, but getting things done in the right way. I believe we now have a great team in place. Early in its term, Council determined that it wanted to do more than just react to the day in and day out demands. Instead, we wanted to establish a sense of purpose and direction, and that our goal would be to enhance Metchosin's rural character and values. We established the district's first strategic plan in early 2023, and we are continuing to both implement that plan and look at planning on a year-to-year basis. Developing a municipal strategy allows our community to take advantage of the opportunity, address challenges, and mitigate the risks. Strategic planning allows the council and administration to work collaboratively to a common goal and a common vision for this municipality in a very focused way. I'd like to review what we've done toward fulfilling our strategy. This council is committed to supporting and enhancing agriculture and empowering its farmers. For the first time ever, Metchosin has an agricultural plan. This was a plan brought forward by the Agriculture Advisory Committee with input from farmers with the help of a consultant. The plan was unanimously endorsed by Council with the understanding that agriculture is a cornerstone of our rural community. Similarly, we are moving forward with a feasibility study for assessment of the physical structure of the fire hall. Built 60 years ago, the fire hall is one of the district's most important structures. However, it is seismically unsafe. It also has a range of deficiencies that can no longer be patched over. In the coming months, this council will consider options for the new fire hall. Over the last few years, the fire department has increased capacity for emergency response, fire smarting properties, and continued engagement with stakeholders. The fire department has shifted to a new 24-hour model, which has decreased response time at the scene, and hopefully in the future will decrease our insurance premiums. Our firefighters are singularly critical to emergency response in Metchosin. It is vital that we move towards a new fire hall in a manner that respects the people that work and train there. This council is committed to public safety and safe passage through the community. The stairs at Weir Beach have been rebuilt and allow safe access to the beach. The district has moved forward with placing crossguards at the Galloping Goose Trail intersections on Rocky Point Road and Happy Valley Road. Importantly, we have begun to work on an active transportation plan with consultants with Urban Systems, and Council has recently reviewed Phase 1 of the engagement summary. The survey includes key takeaways and themes of barriers to cycling and walking, lack of connectivity, and road safety. We continue to have good communication with the West Shore RCMP to work towards improved public safety. Working with others, we are continuing to engage the RCMP around issues like major crime response and public safety. Along with other mayors in the CRD, I'm also engaged in finding a fair and sustainable solution to fund the agency that handles our 911 calls. This council is committed to authentic public engagement. Once a month, the community is invited to have tea with the mayor. This is an opportunity to informally meet with the mayor and the acting mayor in a group setting. I also have an open door policy, and anyone in the community can also make an appointment to meet with me. As a council, we also have sponsored 3 educational opportunities regarding access to reliable, safe water and water conservation. Sub-regionally, Council continues to forge good relationships with neighboring councils and communities. Once a month, I meet with the West Shore mayors to foster communication and open dialogue. For the first time, we have good communications and relationships with our neighboring councils and municipalities. We have an open dialogue and mutual respect with our Member of Parliament, Honourable Randall Garrison, and the now retired MLA, Honourable Mitzi Dean, and look forward to a new positive relationship with the incoming MLA for the Wanda Fuca Malahat riding. The public engagement on the future of the Bufferlands has been completed. Council will soon be considering options for the buffer land that emerged directly from the community input that we received on the buffer land. Specifically, we heard that the community wants to retain ownership and control of the buffer land to maximize environmental protection and conservation of this community asset. As indicated in our strategic plan, we are updating and revising our outdated and archaic bylaws. Council has adopted many regulatory bylaws this year. Later this evening, Council will be considering adoption of a new building bylaw for Metchosin, new fees and charges bylaw, and an amendment to the MTI bylaw to update fines for the building bylaw. With the new Accessible BC, or Accessible British Columbia Act of 2022, the District of Metchosin has implemented the provincially legislated tasks, including building a tool to provide accessible feedback to the municipality through an email portal, developing an accessibility plan that we'll hear more about this evening, and establishing an accessibility committee. The CRD has also completed the requirements of the Act. As a member of the Accessibility Committee for the CRD, we reviewed the draft accessibility plan this spring and summer, and this plan has now been adopted by the CRD board. This municipality has responded to the province regarding their plan to increase housing options in BC, which is now a legislated reality. Ahead of the first batch of legislation in 2023, I sent a letter to Honourable Minister Ravi Kahlon noting our deep concerns with directives that did not account for the unique community care circumstances. I pointed out that Metchosin does not have the infrastructure to support large-scale residential or commercial development, particularly as we are not connected to municipal sewage systems, and much of our residential base relies on wells for water. When we saw the government's first initiatives around small-scale multi-unit housing, we were relieved to see that our concerns had been listened to, and we did not have that requirement imposed upon this community. Still, the government is not only looking for communities in BC to do their part, it is a requirement. Before the end of this year, we will be required to complete a housing needs report. By the end of 2025, we are required to amend our official community plan and land use bylaw to respond to the results of the housing needs report. We will be engaging the community on this matter. We look forward to productive discussions and ideas from the community. We have articulated our expression of gratitude for our volunteers in the community by hosting a volunteer appreciation night. This year, a concert was held in July to recognize the enormous efforts to all our volunteers. I hope this can be a tradition in the future. And lastly, we continue to fly the Pride flag in Metchosin during Pride Month, which demonstrates our commitment to inclusivity and acceptance. It is a symbol of justice, dignity, and diversity. I began with a thank you to Council, our staff, and to our many volunteers. In closing, I want to extend that thanks to the many residents who care for the community and the natural environment that is such a part of Metchosin. The five of us at this table are here because we cherish this community, and we're always looking for your ideas, for inspiration and energy to protecting and strengthening rural Metchosin. Thank you. And we do have Mayor's Rise and Report. Oh, yes.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. I just want to compliment you. Well said. You sometimes, sorry, not you, collectively, we sometimes just get so mired in the day-to-day that you kind of forget all the stuff that we've done to date. So I think that was a brilliant wrap of 2 years to date. And yeah, we've just crossed that second anniversary. So yeah, wonderful.
Great, thank you. Okay, the Mayor's Rise and Report from the November 4th, today's in-camera meeting. The annual citizen appointments at the Advisory Select Committees. Council has made the following appointments. The Agriculture Advisory Select Committee, Peter Chattelberg and Andrew Penn have been reappointed for a 2-year term, I believe. The Healthy Community Advisory Select Committee, Jim McPherson, Sarah Anthony, and Sherry Rourke have been appointed. The Parks and Trails Advisory Select Committee, Ron Aubrey has been appointed, and the Fire Hall Steering Committee, Mike Hornick, Scott Henning, Bruce McCall, Steve Malco, Johnny Carline, and Brent Donaldson. Congratulations to all, and thank you for your input. Okay, let's move along to reports for action. So we have no written report for this, but legislation states that we need to appoint an auditor for 2025. As you remember, our auditors are the KPMG group. They've done well by us. They certainly know their expertise, and I would recommend that council appoint KPMG as the auditors for 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Council Donaldson, seconded by Council Shuken. Any comments? No? Not. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And we have a report to council from our Deputy Corporate Officer on page 17. This is the staff report on council member appointments. We can go through them. Shall we go through them all? Why not? Okay. So we have the following appointments will expire on December 31st and will require consideration by council. Council appointments. Public hearing chair. This is for Council Shuken for a 1-year term. That council appoint Council Shuken as a public hearing chair for a 1-year term.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Gray, second by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The Metchosin Arts and Cultural Association 2-year term. That council appoint Councillor Shuken to the Metchosin Arts and Cultural Association for a 2-year term. Moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the Capital Region Board commissions and committees. The Capital Region Emergency Services Telecommunication, or CREST. That council appoint Councillor Epp to the Capital Region Emergency Services Telecommunications Board for a 1-year term.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Shuken, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great. Capital Region Invasive Species Partnership, or CRISP. That council appoint Councillor Gray to the Capital Region Invasive Species Partnership for a 1-year term.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Shuken, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the alternate for that committee, the Capital Region Invasive Species Partnerships, that council appoint Councillor Shuken as an alternate member to CRISP for a 1-year term.
Okay.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Gray. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And that council appoint Councillor Epp to the Capital Region Arts Commission for a 2-year term.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Shuken, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And that council consider appointing an alternate member to the Capital Region Arts Commission. And we don't have an alternate. Would anybody like to be the alternate for Councillor Epp? Councillor Gray? Sure.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Shuken that Councillor Gray will be the alternate, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. And the Capital Region Housing Trust Fund, 2-year term. That council appoint Councillor Donaldson to the Capital Region Housing Trust Fund for a 2-year term.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Shuken, seconded by Councillor Gray. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice, Mayor Little. Somebody else want to read that out?
Sure.
Go ahead.
The council requests the Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice Committee to appoint Mayor Little to the committee for an additional 1-year term.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Gray.
So we just have on page 21 the note. Is this valid that from the manager of legislative services, CRD, that Mayor Little is not eligible for reappointment due to serving 6 consecutive years?
Yeah, and that is true. So what that will happen at the Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice is they will bring forward a motion to extend that by a year. The chap that was supposed to take over from me died suddenly, the vice chair. And so the court committee's in a little bit of a lurch, so now we're trying to recruit. We've got an interim vice chair, but we need to do more encouraging people to step up. So that's for a 1-year term.
Thank you.
Okay, call the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. And the alternate for that Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice. Who would like to be the alternate to that?
I can.
Okay, Councillor Shukin, great. It's a great committee. That council request that the alternate member be Councillor Shukin to the Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice Committee.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then council members to other committees and boards. The West Shore Parks and Recreation Board of Directors, Council Donaldson. That council appoint Council Donaldson to the West Shore Parks and Recreation Society Board of Directors for a 2-year term. Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Gray. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the alternate for that committee, that council consider appointing an alternate member. Who would like to be that alternate member? Councillor Epp. Okay, Councillor Epp to the West Shore Parks and Recreation Society for a 2-year term.
So
Yep.
moved. Guess.
Yep.
Oh,
So moved, okay, so moved by Councillor Shukin and Gray. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the Greater Victoria Public Library Board, that council appoint Council Donaldson to the Greater Victoria Library Board for a 1-year term. Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Gray. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the Greater Victoria Labour Relations Board, I get you to read that out.
that council appoint Mayor Little to the Greater Victoria Labour Relations Association Board of Directors for a 1-year term. So moved.
It's moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the board alternate, that council appoint Councillor Shukin as the alternate to the Greater Victoria Labour Relations Board for a 1-year term. Moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the Greater Victoria Labour Relations Association delegate to the AGM. AGM's usually at the UBCM conference. That council appoint Mayor Little as a delegate to the AGM for the Greater Victoria Labour Relations Association for a 1-year term.
Moved.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And that's it. Well done. Well done. And then we have the note from the Marlene Lagoa, the Legislative Service and Deputy Court Officer at the CRD, regarding the Arts Commission, the Regional Housing Trust, and Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice. Okay, great. Thank you. And on page 23, did we do this? Request for Board of Directors and alternate. We did this. Yeah, that's great. Is it Councillor Gray? Yeah.
Councillor Epp.
Oh, Councillor Epp. Councillor Epp. Okay. Great. Yeah.
Sorry, Mayor, no, for the board alternate, it was Councillor Epp. Now we're moving to, I believe, Councillor Donaldson and Shukin for the next 2 years.
Okay. Would you like another motion for that? For Council Donaldson for 2 years and Council Epp?
Page 26. It's on page 26.
Yeah, on page 23. Yeah. Okay. Could I have a motion to appoint Council Donaldson for a 2-year term to the West Shore Parks and Recreation?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
We did that already.
Yeah, we did that already, but
Right.
did you want to
On
do
page
it?
25.
It's page 25.
So I think we're looking for the CRD board alternate.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let's all get on the same page. So we're on page 25. CRD Board alternate municipal director appointments for 2025-2026. The recommendation is that council appoint Councillor Donaldson as the CRD Board alternate municipal director for 2025, and that council appoint Councillor Shukin as the CRD Board alternative municipal director for 2026. This moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, coming along here to the acting mayor schedule. We just have a slight change in this by the community charter and the council procedure bylaw. We must provide a designated council to act as a member responsible for acting in place of the mayor if the mayor is absent or otherwise unable to act in those duties. So we have a schedule here. The only change is that Councillor Shelley Donaldson will take May and June 2025, and Councillor Shukin will take July and August 2025. That's okay with everybody? Okay, so I would take a motion to approve the acting mayor schedule of 2025. Motion to approve. Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we have on page 29 the 2024 Municipal Hall closure schedule. It's outlined here. This is per usual. This is what we usually do starting on the afternoon of December 24th. This will go through to the 1st, and the Municipal Hall will reopen on the 2nd of January.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great, that's unanimous as well. So next we have on page 31, the District of Metchosin Draft Accessibility Plan. If I can ask our Deputy Corporate Officer, Ms. Hanson, to come to the microphone to introduce the Draft Metchosin Accessibility Plan. And this will be made available for public comment until November 22nd.
Good evening, Council. Staff are pleased to present the District of Metchosin Draft Accessibility Plan developed in partnership with the Capital West Accessibility Advisory Committee. The recommendation for this evening is to make the draft plan available for public feedback. And once public feedback has been received, the document will be formatted into an accessible document, and we'll have professional graphic design done to it. The Accessible BC Act includes 8 standards in key areas, including employment, service delivery, the built environment, information and communications, transportation, health, education, and procurement. Over 750 organizations in BC, including local governments, are required to have a plan, establish a committee, and a feedback tool. The purpose of the plan is to identify, remove, and prevent barriers to individuals in or interacting with the organization. In December 2023, Council approved the district's participation in the Capital West Accessibility Advisory Committee, and the decision was made to follow the province's model in focusing on the aspects of employment and service delivery. The committee has met 5 times, with the City of Langford hosting the first year of meetings. 2 surveys were conducted. The first survey conducted was in December. It focused on how the public wanted to be engaged, and there were 163 responses. The second, conducted in March and April, on identifying barriers to municipal employment and service delivery, and that had 185 responses. A request for proposal was issued, and Changing Paces, a consulting firm with lived experience, was hired to conduct the engagement and provide a report with recommendations. Changing Paces conducted 3 in-person sessions and 4 virtual sessions. The member municipalities all share the same beginning and end of the plan and have their own individual plans written within the document. The plan describes what we have done, what we are doing, and what we may explore, and is further considered under the areas of staff and/or council training, physical space, technological, and policy procedure and plans. It takes into consideration the survey feedback from staff, and the recommendations from Changing Paces. The accessibility plan will serve as a tool for accessibility-related employment and service delivery improvements within our organizations. The plan will be updated every 3 years, at which time the Act's other accessibility standards will be considered. The committee's the committee partners are proceeding with a similar format and timeline in receiving public feedback and approving the plan. The accessibility plan is supported through the social and governance pillars of Council's strategic plan. Recruitment is now underway for the committee to transition into a committee comprised of community members. Each municipality is conducting their own recruitment process and will be appointing one representative to the committee. The City of Colwood will be hosting the meetings in 2025. And the recommendation for this evening is that the draft accessibility plan be made available for public feedback.
Okay, that's great. On behalf of council, thank you for your work. I know this was a tremendous amount of work by the corporate officers and deputy corporate officers, and if you could extend our thanks to the rest of the group, that would be great. Thank you. So, questions, comments? Go ahead, Councillor Schuch and then Councillor Epp.
Thank you, Mayor Little, through you to Deputy Corporate Officer Hanson. I think you've already said this, but I just want to hear it one more time. So the current plan will focus on 2 of the standards, employment and delivery of services, and then in the next review 3 years from now, presumably, we might look at the other standards. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Great.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's meant to be a living document.
Yeah.
So if items come up, if there are challenges in the community, that we can mitigate risks and increase, it also can be amended as well. Yeah,
Great.
it's really meant to be a living document that's meant to explore throughout time and not wait for those deadlines.
Okay. And Mayor Little, I just want to echo the thanks you gave to DCO Hanson just for her work on all of this. It's a lot of material to sift through and make it real for Metchosin, so thank you.
And also, it was financially feasible for us as well. Ms. Hanson, it was a conglomerate of the 5 communities, so we saved money on the consultant, the staff time, and it will continue in terms of finalizing the document.
Yes, that's correct.
Councillor Epp.
Yeah, too, I think it's, thanks for all the work that you put into this and the others. I think it's a really impressive plan. It just covers so many important issues. I guess the next step for us will be to make sure that we actually do something with it now that it's there. Anyway, I'm prepared to move the District of Metchosin draft accessibility plan to be made available for public comment until November 22nd, 2024.
This is moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Did you want to speak more to that motion?
No, I think that's it. I just, I really like the plan.
Okay. And Councillor Donaldson?
Yeah, no, I appreciate all the corporate officers putting the time in that they did. I have the privilege of actually participating not only just in the online survey, but the Changing Paces, which was incredibly valuable. And it was in a different community, so I could hear what different things that they're facing compared to what we are in our community. Being rural, we don't have sidewalks and such, so that's something. But because we're very dark too, we're lacking lighting, and so it was interesting to be able to exchange that information with each other. And I'm looking forward to hearing how everybody, all the corporate officers, their plans work and how the committee progresses.
Mhm. And that's why the deputy corporate officers made the plan for the plan, well, having the front end and the back end the same for all the communities, and then the middle section is specific to that community. Like you say, we don't have sidewalks, so it wouldn't do us any good to have an agricultural or a accessibility plan focused on sidewalks. Councillor Gray.
I just had two questions for Ms. Hanson and one question for the committee. In terms of the work that's been done in getting it out there, we do put it on the web, I suppose. There's not enough time to get it in the Muse, I don't imagine, for November 22nd. Is there any other ways we can get it out there?
Through the chair, yes, we will put it on the web, and we'll have hard copies available at the front counter. We could extend, I believe some of the communities are still going through, still have to get approval of the draft plan. So we could probably extend it to the end of the month even, just to give people a bit of extra time. But I can check to see if there's time to get it in the Muse. I would have to get back to you on that.
And then councillors that have social media accounts could pump it out on their social media as well.
That'd be great. Then through the chair, my second question was, this plan, as I reading it, is for all of our facilities. So that would include the school, the community house, Old Barn Books, all the different locations that we own.
Through the chair, yes, that's correct. And sorry, it is for some things it is a fairly high level plan where it's not specific to individual projects, but we can still apply for funding if a project were to come up. If we identify something that needs to take place, but it's been broad enough that if we identify a plan, we can proceed with looking for funding for it.
Great. And then I had a question for committee, which is, should we specifically refer this to Healthy Communities for their view and recommendations?
What do you think, Sherry?
What type of recommendations were you looking for?
Well, I guess it's out for public comment, and so the idea we talked about, or it's been mentioned at the table, that Healthy Communities might be involved in accessibility questions. So is this a place to involve them? That's really my question.
Yeah, I guess that would kind of, meetings usually are last, like later in the month, so it just depends on whether the deadline gets extended or not. We can certainly bring it up at the next meeting and then plan for that, and then if it does get extended, I can bring those comments.
Councillor Donaldson.
Yes, through the chair to Ms. Hanson, in regards to the 8 standards, and I realize this is a flexible working document. Earlier this year, well, actually almost this time last year, I met with some citizens in regards to grants for 2 projects. And so earlier this year, I submitted a grant application to staff, which still has not been administered. But it comes under built environment. So because we do have interest from citizens in our community as a very high priority, we could still address that in line with the other 2 standards.
Through the chair, yes. If you look at the plan on page, I believe it's action item 7.2.
Yeah.
So we have the ability to, so that is sort of broad enough where if we were to identify parking spaces maybe that needed to be upgraded or improved, we could use that as an actionable item to qualify for the funding.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the 2 projects I'm thinking, well, there'd be a third one that's not been applied for yet, the third one being the ramp at the school, but the other 2, one was parking and the other one was mitigating a gravel area between parking and a sidewalk. So that's the one that's outstanding right now on the desk with the grant application. So I was just wondering if we could still go ahead with doing that because those grants are still open.
Through the chair. Yes, we can try for grant funding. We would obviously also have to make sure that it falls within council's approved budget. So, you know, if there's
If
it's
it was
gonna go-
matching funding, for
Yeah, no,
instance,
it's
it's not, it's just a grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did we get council approval for that?
It's still sitting on administration's desk.
No, I know,
So I
but
don't know.
it came to this table.
No, this is a separate one.
Okay,
This is
so we
separate.
should bring it to this table, once it's ready to
Yeah,
go out.
still waiting.
Yeah, okay. Okay, anybody else wish to comment? No, so Councillor Epps' motion, and that was the District of Mitchell Rosen draft accessibility plan we made available for public comment. Should we change it until the end of the month, or do you want to leave that November 22nd? Councillor Epp?
Well, it's up to Ms. Hanson, is that okay with
Would
do
that
that
be
now?
safe to leave it to the end of the, or to extend it to the end of the month?
Until the end of November.
Okay, we will amend that then.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, and any other questions? Councillor Shukin, did you have a question? No. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, with many thanks. Correspondence for action. This is on page 133. We have a letter from Ms. Nikki Nadeau regarding the Christmas market. She is asking for the mayor and council to waive the rental fee in support of the community initiative. This is the Christmas market. That's what she's asking. What do you think? What are your concerns? What are your thoughts? Go ahead.
I just think because it's, there's been some confusion around this, and that I think is our fault for kind of waffling on getting this all decided as far as the bylaw goes. And they're well aware that, according to the letter from President Chris Vandewater, he said if Maker's Market is held again next year, MACA will incorporate the newly created fees and charges bylaw into their plans. So for me, I think that this year that rental fee should be waived so that they have a chance to make better plans in the future.
Okay. Councillor Shukin.
Thank you, Mayor Little. I'm going to also support Councillor Epp in this. I've had a chance over the last few days to talk to several members of MACA's executive, including the organizer of the Makers Market, and she does point to a general lack of clarity in terms of the fees, such that she was not aware of the need for the fees when she began the organization, and it's only recently come out that the fees were due. I think we've made tremendous strides in terms of putting an organizational structure to the gym and developing a fee structure, but we still have some work to do in terms of clarification of the process. And so on that basis, and on that basis alone, I would recommend that we waive the fees for this year. And I do take heart and that Mr. Vandewater has recognized that there are fees that do have to be accounted for, and ideally our processes are much more clear next year. And they now recognize that there is a fee for the use of that building and are prepared to pay for next year. On the basis of lack of clarity, I think we should waive them this year. So.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In reading Ms. Nadeau's letter, she references the fire chief having informed her of the cost of $350 per day. I just want to commend the chief for the work that she's been doing with the school and following through with what our plans were. And I understand that there could be some misunderstandings. The chief has also sent us an email to clarify that position, and it kind of goes in line with what president of MACA says, Mr. Vanderwater, about, as my colleagues have also reiterated here, that requesting the waiver for this year does, I think, fall into cooperating with the group, and that everybody understands where we're going in the future and how much we've put into this idea of having the building, having a two-tiered structure for fees and revenues and such for just maintaining of the facility. So I'd be in favor of waiving the fees for this as well.
Councillor Gray.
Yeah, I'll move that council waive the fees for the Makers Market for this year at the school gym.
This is moved by Councillor Gray, second by Councillor Epp.
And I'll just say for me it's an open and shut case. We have an email from a staff member that when the space was originally booked for the market, staff advised there would be no cost as in previous years. And so that's the way the deal was made. It's a contract and we'll stick to the contract.
Okay. I would like to say so that what the fees would be $700 for the total for the 2 days. Well, we were speaking to the farmers market this last week, and they said that they pay $100 to $125 per table for 2 days at the community hall. So based on that, the rental income for that would be upwards to $3,500. So $700 is not a great deal in comparison to that. Not that I'm going to vote against this, but just for some context as well. Okay, anybody else wish to speak? No? Okay, all in favor? Waiving? Oh, thank you, that's unanimous. And we have correspondence for information. We have, first of all, from Superintendent Todd Preston, the West Shore Detachment Regional Policing. So this is on their integrated services and their plan for the future. I met with the mayors regarding this letter that sort of came out of nowhere with no advance notice. So there was some trepidation and some concern. We will be meeting with Superintendent Todd Preston in the near future. A little bit awkward, I have to say, with me being on the Victoria Family Court and Youth Justice, and are advocating for over a year for misfunding, and for we put this op-ed piece in the Times Colonist, got quite a bit of traction with that, and then later received this letter saying that the West Shore is pulling out of it. So it's a little bit awkward, pointing to, I think we need a little bit better communication. So I will have some more information regarding the Regional Domestic Violence Unit, the MISS team, and the Integrated Mobile Crisis Team in the near future. Does anybody else have any comments or questions? Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering when Superintendent Preston was here at our last meeting, it seemed that this was largely a management decision in terms of use of resources, and that we had enough services in the West Shore for these items. Is that other people's understanding?
One of the concerns was that even though we're paying for the Mobile Youth Services team, what I heard was that it wasn't being used on the West Shore. They were so stretched thin throughout the region that the West Shore wasn't being well served. But regarding the Regional Domestic Violence Unit, I think that is a new unit for the West Shore. And we'll find out more. Any other questions, concerns?
I guess I'm just wondering, are we being asked, are we supposed to weigh in on it, or is it more?
You can weigh in on it if you like. This is correspondence for information, so no action needed by council. But I guess one of the concerns that I have is if we're taking on more responsibility, like we for instance, we pay into the MISS program, it's not 100% on us, but as we have expanded units at the West Shore, we're going to have to pay for it. Somebody's going to have to pay for it. And we're a partner with the other West Shore communities, and if those budgets go up, our taxes will go up. So it is concerning.
So I suppose the question is, how do we get a handle on this? As I say, I had understood that we have the services here, for example, on the MISP example, the youth outreach officers, the school liaison officers, and we were hearing from the superintendent, we've got it covered. Or that was my interpretation, and I take that different perspective because you're more aware working on the committee. The integrated mobile crisis response and the regional domestic violence unit, it sounded like we had the people already on the ground. It wasn't maybe increasing our budget, but maybe that would be the first thing to get clear. Does this mean an increase in budget for the West Shore Police, or is this simply, I thought he was saving money by pulling away from the others, but if we get that clear, that would be a help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure, because the West Shore Integrated Mobile Crisis Response team is sort of half launched, and it will be fully serviced, I think, by, what is it? The end of next year or so. And I don't know about the finances. And the Regional Domestic Violence Unit, we as in the West Shore contribute $121,000 plus $115,000 salary for one constable to participate in the regional unit. Yeah. We can get more information from Superintendent Preston.
That sounds like a good. If we have a role to approve it or not approve it, I think that makes sense.
Well, we don't really, actually, to tell you the truth. That's the difference between RCMP and municipal forces.
Mm-hmm.
Municipal forces have their own police board, so they would have a police board, and changes like this would come before the police board, like in Oak Bay, for instance. But at the RCMP, we don't have that.
Well, that's what I'm noticing. West Shore RCMP has elected to withdraw our financial support. I think words to that effect, so I'm not sure what we're chasing here.
Not chasing anything, we're just receiving this for information, but any comments or concerns, questions are welcome. Yeah.
And the other thing, well, he seems to make sense. I mean, in his presentation, it made sense anyway make these changes. But it would be nice to know if they're going to mean an increase in the budget for us.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Donaldson.
So if they're withdrawing that and they're saying they're not getting the calls and stuff, are our youth being served in the West Shore for what they need from an organization like this? Is the Pacific Center for Families able to support them?
Yeah, the West Shore is being served, but not adequately, nor is anybody else in the region. It's just one member, one constable, plainclothes constable, and a counselor. And they can't possibly do all of the region. They go to hotspots of schools, shopping centers, and so it's a little bit different from what Superintendent Preston was talking about in terms of call-outs. These are not responding to call-outs. These are this team is on the ground at hotspots where where youth congregate, where they've heard there's been victims of sextortion or trafficking. They go out to all of these regions. So one team can't possibly meet the needs of the whole region. That's why we were advocating not only for sustained funding for the MISS team, but for sustained funding for an additional team. And it was a provincial responsibility. We would hope with the new government that they would take a look at this. Yeah. Okay, I'll take a motion to receive for information.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Comments? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then if we could, or if you could inquire as to if there are changes in our budget as a result of these, that would be interesting to be aware of.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great, thank you. And moving along to a report and letter from Grant Brown, the Chief Administrative Officer of the West Shore Parks and Recreation press release. And that is here. The press release is that the West Shore Parks and Recreation Society is seeking a consultant for the Recreation Master Plan that we heard about from Council Donaldson earlier this year. There is a scope of work there, so if anybody knows of a consultant that's looking for a great contract, there it is. Anything else to add to that, Council Donaldson?
No, it's pretty thorough letter that Mr. Brown has given us. Basically, because we're getting so big and the facility is at its maximum, what we're seeing now, and thanks to the collaboration of the mayors and other stakeholders, is that there's an interest for different satellites throughout the region, which is very complementary to where people live in neighborhoods, and that to have community recreation a little bit closer, with the main hub being the recreation down at West Shore Parks and Rec, which has the arenas and pool and such. So this is just identifying the population growth and the fact that people do not know the boundaries, because they do travel throughout the whole West Shore more now than ever. So this is just meeting a need, and it's we're looking at 10 to 20 years of recreation in our area, so we need a plan.
Okay, take a motion to receive for information. Moved by Councillor Donaldson, second by Councillor Shukin. Anybody else have any comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have a letter from Richard Manawaring, the Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Forests. This is in response to our delegation to the Minister of Forests at the UBCM convention. The staff will follow up regarding options for wildfire protection and rejuvenation initiatives. That's about it. So we've now got an MLA, so we could let that person know that we're concerned about not only our forest, but also water as well. Yeah, looking forward to those positive comments. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor Little. I don't know if the letter right now requires sort of any specific follow-up.
But they're going to follow up with us, right?
Okay.
Once there's a new minister.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Then we can follow up.
I'm not sure what Mr. Manwaring is referring to in terms of municipally owned old growth forest in our district. Do we own property that has old growth forest in it?
Yeah.
And
So
the parcel of concern, is there a particular parcel that we discussed with them?
that's what they asked us, actually. They asked us, have you got parcels of land with old growth forest? And we said within the district of Metchosin, we do have Mary Hill, which has a component of old growth forest, not municipal owned, but old growth forest. We've got another parcel of land, and that's where I think he was confused. We call a buffer land that doesn't have old growth forest, doesn't have second growth forest. But it needs protection, and we would be interested in grants for conservation and rejuvenation there. So anyways, they're going to follow up with us after this period of campaigning and elections is over.
Great. I think part of our push too was protecting old growth forest wherever they are in the province.
Yeah.
And that was, sorry.
Go ahead.
And that was the thrust of our presentation. And yeah, we said right off the bat that it was, our desire was to protect that very small, I don't know, what do you want to call it, that small biosphere that we have left in terms of old growth. So, yeah.
But the resolution didn't point to Metchosin, it was a resolution overall, and that's what we were speaking to at the meeting. Okay, motion to receive for information. Councillor Eck, Councillor Donaldson, all in favor, opposed, carried. Then we also have the supplemental information from Ms. Bacon, thanking us for our leadership in pursuit of protecting our forests. She feels that we have the right values and we do a good job in representing us to the other levels of government. So thank you very much, Ms. Bacon. That's great. and compliment. Okay, moving right along to bylaws. So we've already done first, second, and third reading of those bylaws. I don't know whether we need Ms. Hanson to introduce them since we've already seen them, but let's try and do it by ourselves. Councillor Gray.
I move council adopt bylaw number 694, building bylaw 2024.
This is moved by Councillor Gray, second by Councillor Donaldson. Councillor Epp, go ahead.
It's actually 696.
No, that's
The
the
694 first.
I'm looking at the wrong one.
That's okay.
It's okay. 147, I
I've
think.
lost it.
How about if you do that
Page
one?
147.
Never mind. Pick that up.
No, that's okay, just keeping us on our toes. Okay, so this is the, as I mentioned, we did do first, second, and third reading already. And this is adoption. Any comments, concerns? No? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And now moving along to what Councillor Epp was talking about. Councillor Epp, do you want to move that?
Sure. I'll move the council adopt bylaw number
696.
The fees and charges bylaw 2024.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Gray. Comments? No? Great to get this done. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have the ticket information, TIA Amendment Bylaw 2024, number 705. Councillor Donaldson.
Move that council consider adoption of bylaw 705 of the ticket information authorization bylaw.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Shukin.
Just to be clear though, it's that we will adopt,
Yeah.
not consider.
No, that we will adopt.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Okay, anybody else? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have other business. Just to remind you that Monday, November 11th is Remembrance Day. Councillor Shukin, I believe, is attending the City of Langford
I am.
remembrance ceremonies on behalf of council, so thanks for doing that. And the rest of us will muster at the fire hall at 10:30, and then we'll march to the cenotaph for the 11 a.m. So the community and everybody is invited. It's always a great day. And then the fire hall will again have hot dogs.
The 14th Montfuca Scouts, for about the 20th year in a row,
Great.
will be providing the refreshments inside the bays at the fire hall.
Okay, refreshments, okay. And that'll be after the service at 11 a.m.
Yes.
And then December 2nd, after the council meeting, we'll have a short council meeting, but after the council meeting, we're going to have a celebration because the district we're chosen is now 40 years old. So we will be celebrating our 40th anniversary. So invitations will go out to past council members, members of the community, so we can celebrate our 40 years of success. December 2nd, it's a Monday night. Everybody's welcome. Yeah. Okay, so those are just two reminders. And then question period. We were well before 9:30. I guess I went a little bit fast with perhaps the bylaws, but we have time for questions. We have up to 20 minutes. If anybody in the large audience would like to ask us a question. Okay. Anybody in the back? No? Okay. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Gray, second by Councillor Shukin. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I've got a question. Are you going to eat that apple?
After council.
That's good.
I've seen that before. You just put it there.
Yeah, let me get that.
It's like,